Oh, the lark in the morning, she rises from her nest and bounds in the air with the dew upon her breast. Certainly would this morning. What a lovely day it's been so far. It's 4:20 in the afternoon, and what a glorious day to be outside doing stuff, which I have been planting today, planting beans. So, and it may be a little bit early where I am, but beans can stand it. In fact, you need to get them in about now. Broad beans I'm talking about. And peas very soon. Then the crop, that you can keep cropping them till the back end. And they don't really crop until later on anyway, so beans anyway. Not that I'm an expert in growing my own vegetables. I have done it many times before, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I just know a thing or two, that's all. But I've not actually tried it here before. Just potatoes, that's all I've grown here, and I don't even eat potatoes. But things are a little bit more tender, need a bit more care, and of course rabbits don't eat potato tops, so I have to protect against rabbits. And well, you can't really fence for slugs, unfortunately. You can put copper barriers down, that seems to work. I've never had much success with eggshells, and I drink cheap, instant, nasty coffee, so I don't have any coffee grounds to try that, but I don't think that works really. I've never heard anybody swear by either of those methods. Copper definitely works. So, it's a great sunny, it was supposed to be sunny now for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days anyway. A good time to get out there and do a bit of activism. There's nobody around here, that's the problem I have, but very few people, and because familiarity breeds contempt, yes, you can work the rest of the sentence out, can't you? Well, if you can't, I'll tell you. If I go up to somebody and say, well, I won't say the earth is flat, but like Dell, to use the Socratic method, where you slowly introduce them to the idea by asking them questions about their reality, maybe their thoughts on their beliefs and all that. That's a really good method. But well, it works better usually with people who you've never met before. So a good target for me would be Whitby, but people on holiday, tourists. But I can't abide going into Whitby when it's full of people. It just has absolutely no appeal to me whatsoever. No, not at all. I don't eat fish and chips. Don't eat potatoes or fish. So vegan really now, just about a vegan. I think I am a vegan. I can't think of the last time I ate any animal product, which is great. It's kind of just happened, but it is definitely due to well, like I've said before, if you want to eat meat, go out and kill it. That's one thing I would advise. Rabbits. Well, I don't agree with killing hares either, even though they do damage my trees, the little blighters. But it's not their fault, it's my fault. Well, it's nature, isn't it? So, and hares, there's something very special about hares, I think. But rabbits were introduced here, so they say, probably by the Romans, I don't know. There's definitely mice. I can hear mice now. I hope it's mice anyway. Bloody hell. Anyway, I thought about activism and what I could do, and how about the good old-fashioned car sticker? Um, as we know, well, if you drive, you'll know that you're forever stuck behind somebody, and you can't help but look at the rear windscreen or the back of the car, you know. So why not make your own car sticker? I've done that before for a different reason. And well, it's what to put on it, I suppose. But you know, like global eye or you know, you have to be direct. You have to they have to be big letters, so you can't have that many of them because they have to be able to be seen from a fair distance. So the length of a Jaguar bonnet, you know, they're fairly long, aren't they? The big ones. To the back of your car, and if you've got a long boot like an old Volvo or something like that, then you need a fairly decent size of letter. But what you put on it, I don't know. I'll think of something, but definitely going to do that. And well, I think it brings attention. Everybody remembers certain things on the back of cars, like those awful plastic, what was it, 4 fingers on the boot lid? You must remember those. And those rubber strips that supposedly earthed your car because it's on rubber. So it must have had like a steel wire in it or something. I've never really looked into those things, never had one. But I'm sure if you're my age, you'll remember them. And the classic "We are not insured" sticker on the back, like Arnott was an insurance company. It could have just been a local thing, I don't know, but I saw it several times. I wonder how long the ISS would need one of those rubber strips to earth itself, because it's not been earthed for, how long has it been up there now? Something like 18 years or some ridiculous nonsense. Of course, it's not up there. We all know that. Well, if you've got half a brain, you know that. If you've got a full brain, you know you probably knew from the off that it was bullshit. So, do you think when the Great Pyramid was built, if they'd had photographic equipment, they would have made, at least taken a few photographs of it being built, and if they had moving pictures at the time, they would have filmed it and made a documentary, apparently, you know, about how they did it. Probably, most probably, you know. So why didn't they do that with the ISS? Too much CGI, maybe. You know, at the time, there was CGI was a very well, it was in its infancy, I'm sure. So I thought about the top 5 reasons why we know we're not living on the ball. Well, number 1, no spin. Do you feel as though you're spinning? Well, you're not then. If you go on the waltzers or some fairground ride, it's bloody obvious that you're spinning. You feel a bit queasy, and that's because you're spinning. But our ears are fantastic sensory organs for feeling any motion. And, well, I know all about it. Just let me say that. And where I am, the wind would be about 600 miles an hour. So that's another reason that I know I'm not living on a ball, because there's hardly a breath of wind today, just a very slight breeze. It's lovely out there. And number 3 is, of course, the old favourite, water doesn't curve. Never does. So still water is always level. Therefore, it's obvious we don't live on a ball. Number 4, we live in a pressurized environment. We're no doubt about that. Yet, we're supposedly living in a vacuum. Well, put pressure next to a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature would disperse, or I think that's the right word, the air and all the water and just about everything else that's not nailed down if we lived on a ball. It's obvious. And number 5, my favourite, Brian Cox is a massive twat, a lying shit, an actor. So if he says the Earth is a globe, it's obviously not, because he can't lie straight in bed. Yeah, and that's it really. If you need any more proofs, then well, what's wrong with the ones I've just given you? I can't understand. I mean, really. I've heard that when you go up to the fake station, that it's a great way to lose weight. I think Dell said that just recently. Well, I don't think it worked for that little fat Kelly fella. I mean, he was fat when he went up there, but when he came down, he was too fat to throw shit at. I think they probably had to redesign his spacesuit so he could get his fat head in it. Never mind his fat ass. So you may think that's very offensive. Good, if you do, good. I'm glad, because I do mean to be offensive, because people who lie to children, in my book, that's child abuse. Child abuse. And that, of course, is much more offensive to me. So any of these astronauts are all the same, fat or not, old and decrepit or young. They're all the same. They're all liars. They're all lying to children, to your children, to all the people on Earth. They've been rumbled. We know it's not real, but people are still believing it, and they speak with obvious delay in sometimes, and then no delay in other times. That's impossible. It's impossible. It would be impossible, I think, to speak to somebody if they're 250 miles above your head, traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, going around a ball. That would, wouldn't you lose connection now and again? It just, nothing up there makes sense. They said that they could still contact and get information back from Voyager, or one of those probes. I think it's Voyager, and I think it's supposed to be outside the solar system, or beyond Pluto or whatever. But when I even say that, it makes me feel ill, because that conjures up images of outer space. Well, there ain't no such thing as outer space. There can't be a vacuum unless we are in a container, because you couldn't have pressure next to a vacuum. It's page 1 of physics, proper physics, not metaphysics. Anyway, bye.